Let's be honest. You're tired. We are all tired. Every time you open your phone, it's a war zone. Arguments, scandals, polarization. And there is a very strong temptation. Maybe you felt it to just check out. To say, you know what? I'm a Christian. My kingdom is not of this world. I'm going to focus on the gospel, love my family, and let the world burn itself down. It sounds spiritual. It sounds peaceful. It sounds biblical. But here is the dangerous question we need to answer today, is it? Is political passivity actually a sin? When does silence become complicity? And if Jesus is king, why do we act like we're afraid of Caesar? Buckle up. We are diving deep into what the Bible actually says about your voice, your vote, and your silence. There is a popular idea that the most Christian thing to do is to withdraw from society, to create a holy bubble. But let's go back to the Old Testament. The Israelites are in exile. They are captives in Babylon, a pagan, godless, hostile empire. If anyone had a right to say, I'm staying out of their politics, it was them. But look at what God commands them in Jeremiah 29:7. But seek the welfare of the city where I have sent you into exile, and pray to the Lord on its behalf, for in its welfare you will find your welfare. Seek the welfare of the city. The Hebrew word there is shalom. It means peace, flourishing, justice, and completeness. God didn't say, wait for heaven. He said, while you are here, even in a system that hates you, work for its good. You cannot seek the welfare of your city if you are silent about the things destroying it. If laws are passed that hurt the poor, that crush the vulnerable, that distort the truth, and you say nothing because you don't want to get political, you aren't being spiritual. You're being disobedient to the command of shalom. Jesus doubled down on this in Matthew 5:13-16. He called us salt and light. Salt in the first century wasn't just a flavor enhancer, it was a preservative. It stopped meat from rotting. Here's the hard truth. Salt that stays in the shaker is useless. If culture is rotting morally or politically, and the Christians, the salt, refuse to get out of the shaker because it's messy out there, then the rot is partly on us. You've probably heard this famous quote attributed to the German pastor Dietrich Bonhoeffer, who stood up to the Nazis. Silence in the face of evil is itself evil. God will not hold us guiltless. Now, fact-check moment. Historians debate if he wrote those exact words, but his life screamed that message. He was executed because he refused to stick to just theology while Hitler murdered millions. He understood that a Christianity that ignores justice is a hollow shell. The Bible is explicit about this. Proverbs 31:8-9. Speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves, for the rights of all who are destitute. Speak up and judge fairly. Defend the rights of the poor and needy. Notice the command verb, speak up. Not pray silently in your room, though we must do that too, but speak. When politics intersects with moral evil, when it touches on the sanctity of life, the definition of family, the protection of children, silence isn't neutrality. Silence is an endorsement of the status quo. If you saw a house on fire, would you not call for help because you didn't want to disturb the neighbors? Politics is simply the method by which we organize our house. When the house is on fire, passivity isn't patience, it's negligence. Okay, I can hear the comments section already. But what about Romans 13? Doesn't Paul say to submit to governing authorities? Yes, Romans 13:1 says, let every person be subject to the governing authorities. But we often stop reading there. We forget Acts 5:29. When the religious and political leaders commanded the apostles to stop speaking the truth, Peter didn't say, well, Romans 13, guys, let's pack it up. He said, we must obey God rather than men. Here is the scintillating distinction. Submission does not mean silence. You can submit to the office of the president or the king while vehemently critiquing their policies. John the Baptist didn't lead a rebellion, but he did call out King Herod. And let's look at the famous trap in Matthew 22:21. Render to Caesar the things that are Caesar's and to God the things that are God's. People use this to say, politics is Caesar's, religion is God's, keep them separate. Wrong. Jesus asked for a coin. He asked, whose image is on this? They said, Caesar's. So give the metal coin to the guy whose picture is on it. Fine, but what bears God's image? You do, your neighbor does, the city does. So while the coin belongs to Caesar, Caesar himself belongs to God. Politics is not a God-free zone. It is a sphere that God claims sovereignty over. To retreat from it is to hand over territory that King Jesus claims as his own. So is political passivity biblical? No, but political idolatry is also a sin. We are not called to be Democrats or Republicans first. We are ambassadors of Christ. When we speak up, we don't sound like cable news pundits. Ephesians 4:15 tells us to speak the truth in love. Truth. We don't compromise on biblical values. Love. We don't dehumanize our opponents. We want their good too. The balance is the prophetic voice. Here is the bottom line. Your silence doesn't save anyone. Your passivity doesn't impress God. We serve a king who flipped tables when the house of prayer was being abused. You have a voice, you have a vote, you have influence. Use them, not to gain power for yourself, but to seek the welfare of your city. Don't let the fear of being canceled stop you from being salt. Because at the end of the day, the only approval rating that matters is His.